Danielle, and this is my first official recorded podcast episode. So excuse me if it's awkward and weird. It feels awkward and weird. But today I have my friend Sarah on. We're doing a photo shoot today, and I was like, hey, let's get together and shoot the shit and talk about some stuff because we always have good conversations. And I've known Sarah for a very long time, since I was 16, and so it's only actually like 5 years, right? We grew up in the same church and the same youth group together, and we also were roommates for a while, and I did her hair in beauty school and all kinds of stuff, so we've known each other for a long time. And she's had a fun life. She's got lots of stories. But here you are. Tell us a little bit about who you are, Miss Sarah.
I'm really to hear you already swear, so that makes me feel like I don't have to be.
No, it's explicit for a reason.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it.
No, you can swear.
Okay. Thanks, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here.
My podcast that has millions of listeners.
Yeah, Danielle and I have spanned life together in different iterations of our life. So yeah, we're like in our 40s now.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is. But it's easy to recall our early teens and bonding over our. Did we know that it was going to be our shared traumas?
True.
Yeah, and yeah, life is, the ups and downs, the things that you fought for, the things that you didn't know that you had to fight for. Just, it's been nice to, find each other in different iterations of that. So
Yeah, I would say our friendship has gone through different stages. When we were younger, we were, driving around town, pizza boxes taped to our cars and videoing people's reactions, because that's the kind of stuff that homeschool teenage kids do.
I legit have that on a VHS.
We need that documented. I need to see it.
I need to get it converted to digital.
Let's just relive some embarrassment.
Yeah.
But we were innocent and, all that stuff, and life has changed, and I think when we lived together, that was a whole different level of friendship.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got married, and we were friends when we were married, and then you moved away, and then I didn't really see you too much for a while, and then, we all have to kind of grow up, I think, and our friendships hopefully will stay if they're good and healthy, right? But they changed along the years, and I think that's important to pay attention to and focus on, because everything's gonna be hard sometimes, and then sometimes it's easy.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to have friendships that you've had for a long time.
Definitely. I love thinking about relationships, and I love talking about reflecting, because I have been through, I was married and then divorced, and now I'm remarried, and I think during that time I really sat with, what does it mean to be connected to somebody within a relationship or even just a friendship? And also, because I moved away, I had to make a lot of new friendships. But then I also deeply value the ones that I had left behind, not left behind in terms of forever, but just in terms of space.
Yeah.
And I think what I realized that space really does challenge how we connect with each other. It just changes how we do. It's very easy when you live in a town and you sort of bump into each other, you go to the same things, or it's like when you go to church, or you have some sort of community gathering, you just see each other automatically. It's much different to seek out those relationships and care for them and take care of them and grow them over time. And as you grow older, that changes too.
Yes.
How you actually take care of that, because the demands on yourself. You're a small business owner, salon owner, an artist in many different ways, and you're a busy woman, and
So are you.
Yeah, and it's we don't have the free time that we did to just float around with pizza boxes in our car room anymore.
Now we make plans like 4 months in advance to hang out.
And then like the day before, we're like, do we really have time for this? Like,
Exactly. I'm not feeling very good. I need to wash my hair today. So can we just like text each other?
I just need to sit in a dark room with like no sound on.
Oh God, it's too real.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to put a lot more effort into your friendships when you are not close in, relation to each other, which I think is sometimes we get so burnt out, I guess, of friendships or the energy it takes to have relationships with people that sometimes it's hard to do. And I think for me, at least for a while, it was hard when you moved away and you were doing all kinds of stuff anyways. And so we didn't really talk too much for a while. It's not that we had like a fight or anything. We just didn't talk for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm really realizing now too that I really want to put energy and emotional energy into the friendships that bring me joy, that help me grow, that are, either new or old friendships. It sounds weird to say mutually beneficial, but I think that's important because some people are just takers and some people are givers. And so I think it's important to cherish the friendships that you have that are healthy.
Yeah.
And I think we've worked on our healthiness over the years separately. And then so I think our friendship has, again, grown and changed a little bit that way.
Yeah.
But when you're in the same town, sometimes you forget. Like for me, it's out of sight, out of mind. And I realize how many friends I don't hang out with as much because I don't see them as much, or it's they come once every 6 weeks, get their roots done, and I see them, and I feel like it's connected, which is fine. But then that's in my space. I'm like, I need like neutral space to like be friends. But I'm tired, and after work, I'm old now. Like I don't go do stuff as much as I used to, unless it's summertime. Then I do stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to put a lot of energy into keeping the friendships alive.
I think you mentioned something that I want to talk more about because I have thought about that a lot, like the giving and taking in relationships. And I think at different iterations of my life, and I'm going to try to not use iteration too much because I tend to. I've already used it 3 times. I think about, the journey that we're on, and there are moments of our life that we are just in trauma. Mm-hmm. And in the trauma, like we need... there's a lot of need that's happening, and we're trying to find the ways to fix that need. Mm-hmm. And I know in my own process that I have been a taker in my relationships, in my friendships. I think about the period of time between, being divorced and the 6 years, 8 years, I can't remember how long it was that I was single, and I was traveling a lot for work, and I was sort of like trying to make sense of my own heartbreak in that, but also I just remember feeling very needy, and I remember trying to repair that trauma through my shared friendships to be like, these vulnerabilities that I was working through, that I was trying to put the salve of friendship on top of it instead of like my own self-growth, So I guess I'm saying is like, I'm aware that there are periods of time where you just are more needy and you are a taker in a relationship. But I think that, pendulum can come around, and when you see, like when I have seen friends, I've watched friends through divorce now, and I'm so glad that in their moment of need that I had more to give because I knew the space that they were walking through. And I knew how difficult and vulnerable and difficult, just all those levels of what it is. And I was like, let's talk about it. Like, you just need to talk this out for hours. Like, let's hear it, and that extra leaning. Also, we should all go to therapy. I'm just going to say it. Like,
agree.
Go to therapy.
Even if it's for a short time or you take a break, just do it.
It's just so helpful. And there's no amount of therapy that is enough. Just keep going.
Well, there's so many layers to all of our stuff. And I think like we were saying about needing or giving and taking, I think we all have our moments, and I think that's totally fine. And then I think there's people that are literally just takers in every relationship. And it's exhausting to be to do friendships with those kinds of people. And sometimes I don't think you realize it, and maybe it's their narcissist, I don't know. And you're just like exhausted and you don't know why. I've had some friendships along the years that have been like that, and it's a lot. And I'm like, I'm glad I'm here for you. But when I need something, you're not here. Yeah. And you have to, I think you just have to realize that maybe if you care about that person, I could just be your friend. I'm not expecting anything from you because I can't give anything. Right. But in a real good friendship, I think it should be both. Like, you're going through some shit, I'm here for you. I'm going through some shit, you're here. And we all have our times where we're energy suckers because we're exhausted and we're traumatized and we need somebody to just cry out to.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I think that's healthy.
Definitely.
I think we forget sometimes that other people have shit too and we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
With each other.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the part of like the long-term friendship that we've walked through these spaces with each other. It's not just joy, it's also trauma, sadness, all these layers of our being. And there is something about, like, I don't know, I think the older I get, it's more difficult to make friendships as an adult woman. And I think I also don't have kids, so I'm not trying, I'm not making new friendships based off of my life, sort of, what am I trying to say? Like, if I had kids, my kids would be making friends and I'd be making mom friends and that sort of thing, which tends to be, but now I'm like, and I think also because I don't have kids, there's a lot less women my age who share the space that I'm in my life. And so I'm always like, who wants to go out on Wednesday? And there was like, I have to wake up at 7.
My kids.
They're like 5, right?
Or 5.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. There's just, it's much more difficult these days. And so I think I'm even more grateful that I can just, like, I live in the Bay Area, Danielle lives in Roseville, Sacramento area, and our ability to overlap and spend time together is like a couple times a year, to be honest. But
and
it's like
okay when you have a good friendship, right? It feels like we haven't had any time apart when we get back together, and that's good.
That's exactly my point. It's just like it just picks up where we left off. And it's sort of like, and there's just like a comfort in that. There's like not a lot that has to be said besides what's going on, how you do it.
This might be a weird question, but do you feel like it's harder to be friends with women who have kids?
Harder than those who don't have kids?
As somebody without kids, do you think it's a little bit more complicated or harder because they don't understand what it's like to not have kids? Or, like, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of experienced that a lot.
That's a great question. And I think there's layers to it. I think there's, they're emotionally spent, they're physically spent by the end of the day. They have a lot more people demanding emotional everything from them. Not to say that I don't have equal emotional demands, but it's like I'm not trying to keep other humans alive. So
that's a lot of work.
It is. I'm like, so there's that. Like, but even my girlfriends who do have kids, like, I still feel very close to them. I just feel that I feel like I can't reach out to them in the same way. Because they're already maxed out. But I still am very close with my girlfriends who have kids.
Like, I have plenty that have kids, but some people, it's just like they have nothing else to talk about. And it's like, okay, well, I love that for you, but we literally have nothing to talk about anymore. It's weird. But that's not everybody for sure. It's some people, and I'm like, well, all right, well, you're not my friend. Very well. You're just asking me to hear your stories forever, and then you don't want to hear any of my stuff. It's just kind of weird.
I think one of those layers is that, like, maybe I think about, like, when I'm in my zone, I'm like immersed in my life, and I'm like, I work for a nonprofit, I'm a photographer, I have a dog, and I'm a homeowner, and I feel like my life is consumed by those things. And I'm like, like, if you're gonna ask me how I am, it's gonna be around one of those things. And like we might be able to connect over different parts of that, but you're not gonna fully understand the depth of, like, how I ripped open a wall just because I wanted to put arch in my doorway, and my house was turned upside down for 5 days. It's like not everybody wants to talk about that at depth. When I was like, I was learning how to do drywall and mudding and taping, and the taping was total shit, so I had to start over again. It's like, there's only so much. So it's like, I think in the same vein, like when women talk about their kids and, like, I was waiting for the bowel movement for 3 days. I was like, come on, show me, come on. I'm like, I just can't relate to that.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge that was a significant part of your week. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, part of it is we're just like decompressing from our life, and then like trying to get another human to be like, oh, this is what I'm living right now. And then the other is like we're forgetting how to find the connection between like shared interests, instead of just like one person's interest. Or...
Like, what are your common themes in life? Like, what can you go back to that you can bond on and understand about each other? And I do think that's hard when you're immersed in your life and things get complicated and stressful, and sometimes we forget that other people have different lives than us, and it's hard. I mean, I sit and talk to people all day with thousands of different lives, and it's interesting to hear all the different perspectives. And I can talk to all of them about some stuff. Obviously, I don't know how it is to have kids. I don't have any, but I live with one, and I grew up with them everywhere. Yeah. So, you just have to find common things to talk about, too.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients who are older, and I want to talk about, like, making friendships when you are older. I have clients in their 60s that are now single, even almost 7 years old, and they're single and they really don't want to date because we know why. It's fucking rough, that's why.
Yeah.
And they've had more experience and even worse times. But they're just like, I just need people to do stuff with, and it's hard to make friends the older you get. And when you're tired and you just want to stay at home, or it's like, how do you make friends as you get older? Like, what would you, how do you make your friends? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Just curious.
I think there's so many things about that. Like being older, like much older than we are now, like how do I make that effort? I think what I realized is that we all do, like moms or non-mom, women who are older, like we really do want that shared connection with women, with a fellowship of female friendships, but we really don't have time for it, or it just requires a different kind of energy. And I think the older we get, we stop. We feel like, I don't know, I think there's a lot of mental barriers that we start putting in the way, like I just want to sit in a dark room and like breathe for a couple hours instead of being with more people. Or there's that self-conscious factor of like, how do I need to present? There's just a lot of emotional factors that I think women put on themselves. I started doing this thing this year because I was also feeling that sort of like loss of connection. I think a lot of that came out of the pandemic as well, when we really weren't spending time together anymore because we needed to be quarantined. And in the Bay Area, we were really quite strict about that. And so, I think, so this year, I was really feeling that, and I was like, why doesn't anybody get together anymore? I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna, once a month, I'm having a girls' night. I'm inviting all the women I know, who I want to know, who I don't know, and it's come as you are, like, bring your kid, just come and hang out with other women for like the next 2 hours or an hour, if that's all you can spare. And it's like the first event that I had, like I think I invited, 25 women, and all 25 came.
Nice.
And I was like, I feel like that says it all. Like we all really do crave this, and we just need reason. And somebody just needs to just be like, hey, do you want to hang out?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to hang out tomorrow at 7 p.m.?
Without a lot of pressure of doing something specific is probably helpful, because everybody has different things they like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love to dance, and I've met a lot of friends from my dance community over like 15 years. And I'll be like, you guys should come. And they're like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, but there's so many great people. And then I forget, like, they don't know how to do that. They don't want to do that with me. Just hanging out in a neutral environment is probably better.
Yeah. I also have been dragged to the dance floor by Danielle, and I enjoyed it, but it was also, like, painfully awkward.
It's stressful at the beginning. It's a lot.
Even with the lesson, I was like, am I late? My feet are going this way.
It was a very intense lesson.
Yeah.
That was not a beginner lesson.
It's okay. But it was a good time, but also, like, it does feel, I'm like, oh, am I ready to, like, really immerse myself into something that's, like, physically involved, mentally, it's not a neutral engagement. It is important to keep that in mind. like something very casual, and I'm like, come in your pajamas, like I don't care, like just show up, hang out, low stakes. And so it was really, so I've been doing it once a month where I just have girls' night.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I used to do that too. I just have to coordinate it around who's in my house at that time.
Sure, yeah.
And sometimes it feels like too much for me to do that, but I do feel like I don't care how old you are, whoever you are, just come hang out.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
I think that's important. And I even thought, I had this wild idea, because I have so many older clients, I'm like, maybe I should just make like an event for older single women only, just to come hang out, like come find a date, the friendship date, like meet your,
Totally.
I've gone to some singles mixers before, and it's freaking awkward. And I'm like, why don't we just make it something like that? Have some icebreakers and like talk to each other.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like it's sad because either you're okay being alone and you're totally happy, or you're really lonely. And I think there's definitely an epidemic of loneliness, even though we're all connected.
It's very different than social media is not actual connection, and I think people forget that. I think I've been around long enough that I can remember the different ways we connect. And so it's like, I remember when I first got my cell phone at like 16, 17 years old, and I had 3,000 minutes a month, and I would use up all 3,000 of those minutes a month. I'd have to call to see like how many minutes I had left, like down to the minute, because I would be calling to talk to people constantly talking to everybody. And now somebody calls me, I'm like, oh my God, why are you calling? Send a text message.
How dare you?
Like, I know. It's just funny to me. And now, and I just remember also this moment of like social media where people were no longer reaching out to see how I was. They would just wait to see what I posted. And I would never have the conversation with them about what it was that I posted on social media, but they just knew that about me. And it felt there was such a disconnect from being held and understood and having that conversation or the reflection of, that life update, as opposed to it just being like public knowledge and it like not being reflected back to you. And that's not connection. That's not. And I think we really need to like break down those barriers of because I see this next generation, like they don't even communicate. Like my baby sister who's 18, I'd be like, hi, how are you? And she's like, good. Like, anything else?
Their communication is Snapchat, and it's like their forehead, and it's like, what's up? Or getting my hair done, or I see their little messages,
good.
And I'm like, that's it. That's all I got.
I know. Yeah, and I don't know. So it's like I'm like, tell me something about your day, and she's like, I don't know. I'm like, I want to shake her. Like, connect with me.
I feel like I think we value connection more as we get older, when we realize the true, like the value of good connection maybe. And like when we were younger, all we wanted to do is just be around each other so that we didn't have to be at home. And teenagers just want to be around other people. They don't give a shit about their family. Like, leave me alone. I'm sick of you people. So we were like trying to be around each other all the time. Yeah. And we had friendships and we did stuff fun. And I feel like we talked about some stuff. I don't know how deep we got, but I think as you get older and you get healed and you go to therapy and you experience the world, I think you want a different kind of connection. I feel like for me, I want a different kind of connection now. Like, I want a kind of friendship where if you said something hurtful, I can be like, dude, that was hurtful. Why did you say that? Or that hurt my feelings. Or I'm really sorry that I said something hurtful to you and I realized I was being a dick.
Yeah.
And or just like being able to call each other out, or really talking about stuff and then like getting real advice or thoughtful advice, I guess. I just need better quality friendships, I guess. I have a ton of friends.
Yeah.
AKA acquaintances that I know everywhere. Like, I see people out all the time. But are they true close friends that I actually want to spend time with? My list is much smaller. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But it does bring a different level of friendship, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense for you, especially considering you're a small business owner, and part of that is just your network of acquaintances and clients, and like you're not going to have the same kind of closeness that you have with acquaintances and clients as you would your friendships, because you're facilitating a good and service, and part of that good and service is actually you. Yeah. It's not just your haircuts, and so there is a separation between that. Like, sometimes people do span that gap of like beyond the client Like as a photographer for the last 20 years, I have friends who became such and they were my clients first, but
me too.
Percentage-wise, it's
very
not
low.
everybody.
Yeah, it's very low.
And there's, some people just prefer the business relationship, and that is totally
That's
fine.
great. Because it requires a lot of energy again anyways.
Yeah,
but I definitely want the friendships that bring me joy and don't drag me at the end of the day.
Yeah. And you were saying something before that I also want to talk about, which is the, like, being honest about sort of like moments of disappointment or tension in relationships. And I think the beauty of what we bring to that now in our age versus when we were younger is that, like, when we were younger, these felt like very big, heavy things. Whereas, like, now we see the life that can, the repair and the life that can live beyond a moment of disagreement or, but I think that comes from holding space for people in that frustration or disappointment or hurt. And it's like, hey, what you said hurt my feelings, or whatever it might be. It's like there's a bit more of I'm gonna walk you through this, as opposed to I'm done with you. And I think that's important for every relationship, not just friendships or friendships or significant others or
I mean, you gotta work on stuff together, and that's friendships too, not just relationships.
Yeah.
Like with a partner.
Yeah,
I think my friendships have helped me in relationships with a significant other. It's been helpful because I'm like, if I can have a harder conversation with my friend, I can also have a hard conversation with this guy that I'm dating.
Yeah.
Also, medication is helping a lot.
Right, drugs.
Dude, life fucking changing. Let me just say, it's so much easier for me to have hard conversations now than it was before, and it's just the anxiety is calmed in my brain, and it's nice. But I let anxiety ruin things, I think, for me in friendships and or relationships in the past, where I just let it eat me, build up, and then I blew up. And that's, for me, that's like a weird anxiety thing that I do. I just, it's like an overwhelming thing that I have to do it now, and then I say the wrong thing and I get stressed out. And it's like, if I had just dealt with a little bit at a time, when it comes up, it wouldn't have to be this way, and maybe my friendship would be still here or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm trying to do now specifically. Like, if you said something, I'm just gonna be like, hey, not cool. And I'm just trying to like bring things up as they come, and that helps me also again in relationships as well.
Yeah.
With dudes. So I think it's hard, but it involves inner work for my own self. Because I don't like saying things to people. I'm pretty bold, and people think that I say whatever I want, but I'm like, nah, I don't. I do not like to hurt people's feelings. I do not like to be confrontational.
Yeah.
And it stresses me out.
But you do have a strong sense of justice.
I do.
And that's what I'm making a point of that, because when you do say things, it's because you have a strong belief connected to it that there's a wrong that is happening. And I've witnessed this as, we grew up in a very different setting than what we choose to live in now. And we have, fought for those sort of belief systems that were contrary to what we were growing up in, because we see that there's truth and value in them. I had a thought that just disappeared. But
It'll come back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember what else I was going to say either. My brain fart. We can.
I guess I was thinking about anxieties and support, and like what you're describing right now is that your ability to have self-awareness now. Like when those big feelings come up, you're able to be like, what is that big feeling? Where is this coming from? Like, why do I feel like shutting down right now? Instead of it just being, I'm shutting down, and...
Well, therapy is helpful for that as well as medications. But self-awareness is huge with that stuff, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I didn't really write notes of stuff to talk about. I just wanted to talk to you about shit, How long have we been talking?
I think maybe 30 minutes or so, yeah.
I mean, we could stop or we could pause to talk about something else and do 2 episodes.
Yeah, I always feel like I need to like wrap it up like a paper. I'm always like, okay, we just like did different things, and now like let's reflect on some main points that are like.
Okay, studious Sarah.
I know. What are some closing remarks?
Do you have any closing remarks, Sarah?
I know. I guess I'll just sort of start with what I think are some truths. Is that we all desire community and connection and friendship, and that there's a lot of things that sort of like get in the way. Some of it mental health, some of it belief systems, a lot some of it trauma, of like why we think we don't deserve good relationships or friendships, and it's like, how do we move past that? And one, go to therapy. get some support for yourself. And then two, just reach out to the people that you actually want friendship with, because the reality is they probably also want that friendship too. And then also just keep in mind people are at different places places in their journey. They're just busy with life or kids or whatever it is that's massively on their plate. I was in school for 4 years, and I was like, I don't even have time for my husband right now. So I'm like, nobody's getting anything from me right now. Like, school is getting everything. And I'm grateful that everybody gave me some extra love and support from afar during that time. But sometimes you just don't have the capacity to give. And now that, when I graduated, I was like, I reached out to my girlfriends up here in Sacramento. I was like, I miss you. I want to see you. Like, let's hang out.
It's definitely something I've been remembering and realizing. I need to reach out more. I need to make more of an effort to hang out with people. And I think I want to try to do some sort of like monthly, even if it's just going out to coffee with somebody, like I need to like actually do that.
Yeah, totally.
I just get tired and worn out, and I do too many things. And then I feel like I talk to people constantly, and then I forget. When I do actually hang out with somebody, it brings me joy and happiness, and I feel better afterwards. Not drained. So this is what I need to refill my cup, I guess. So that's important.
Yeah. It's like, don't put a lot of pressure on it, and yet make intention. Because it's sort of like I have a friend who invites me to stuff, and I'm like, I always am never available, and I always feel bad, but like, please keep inviting me. Like, I will be able to make it one of these times. You know.
I mean, attention is a big part of every relationship, right? They talk about it all the time on Instagram and social media. Everybody's like, do things with intention. And that's true. It's very true. Even with friendships, you have to be intentional with your time and your energy and what you're putting into people and stuff. So that's important to remember. Well, I always give everybody a shout out if you want people to follow you or look at your stories or your life. You do that. If you don't, that's totally fine.
I used to be very public about my life. Now I don't have time to keep up with that anymore.
I mean, she's an amazing photographer. If you want to look at her photography, that's always cool.
I do still have a photography website, sarah.dawsonmclean.com. I don't really photograph weddings anymore. I am happily retired from that.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I know how hard that was. It is.
It's physically very involved.
If I ever do get married, are you going to come out of retirement for me? Please.
I mean, I'm always willing for the right person. So, I mean, the thing is always a photographer. I just don't do it. I don't do it for a living anymore. I will say that. I work for a nonprofit. I'm very happily transitioned into my new career space. But I love photography. It will always be a part of my life. So.
All right. Well, that gives me hope. Maybe when I'm 70 and Sarah's 70, maybe she'll do her first old lady wedding. All right. Well, thank you for coming on today and taking time.
I love you.
To hang out with you. I love you too.
Dancing in the wind and rain.